Welcome to Thursday, day 14 of Lent for everyone, as we continue our journey through Matthew in this study with N.T. Wright. I think it's really important to realize that one of the trademarks of Matthew's gospel is that Jesus is the fulfillment of Scripture. And Wright does a really good job explaining what fulfillment means. Sometimes we think that just means prediction about Jesus in the Old Testament. But instead, Wright describes it as also this long-awaited fulfilling of something. This, like when a mountain climber finally comes to and sees the peak of the mountain that he's been working so hard to get to, or when the couple who's been long away from each other sees each other or anticipates being with one another on their wedding day. It's fulfillment in that sense, and that what is happening is that there's this buildup, not just in the passage quoted from Isaiah 42 here, but also from this entire section of Isaiah about the suffering servant. That's really, really, really an important text for us as Christians. And Matthew wants to use that text as kind of a baseline for understanding who Jesus is and pointing to it. Obviously, we don't know that passage from Isaiah as well, but we are familiar with passages of it and often use Isaiah 53 around Good Friday, along with that text throughout other times, as far as it being a passage of great hope and comfort as well. One of the main purposes of that Isaiah text, Wright says, is that the point that he is making is that a different kind of kingdom is coming in Jesus, an alternative mode of kingship. And specifically what this alternative mode of kingship is in Jesus is not about him being quiet or telling them to be quiet. That's what we think that Jesus is doing in this Matthew 12 text at first. That's why the Isaiah is quoted, is because Jesus says he heals everyone and he says don't tell anyone about it. But really the fulfillment is that Jesus is lifting up the vulnerable, that he won't break the bruised reed. Every other kingdom that comes in, and the kingdoms that rule in our world, the powerful get more power, the wealthy get more wealthy. And what Jesus is saying is that in his kingdom, it is the vulnerable who will be lifted up. This is what happens when the kingdom turns upside down. That is good news for us. And it's good news because, friends, we find ourselves often, at least in terms of faith, as the vulnerable. We have questions, we're not sure. But it also gives us a calling to serve and love those who are the most vulnerable among us. God be with you today.